Easy. Drive across country, they say. It'll be fun, they said.
And it was. Welcome to Lap of the World. I'm Liz, and now that we're back from Expo, we thought we would give you a quick video. Hi.
What you doing?
Well, since it's my channel now, I thought I would give an intro.
What are you going to do? Proceed.
So now that we're back from Expo, we thought we would give you a quick video, just kind of a summary of our numbers and a little overview of our trip, and maybe some
weird stuff.
Yeah, some weird stuff.
But anyhow, I will lead this off with our NSXPO experience by the numbers. So somewhere over our faces or thereabouts on the screen, you're going to see a map that will have overlaid upon it our route that we took.
Including a couple minor details that we'll talk about later.
Yes, the route is totally accurate.
Yeah.
Even though it may not make sense if you're looking at it and know some of the interstates in the United States. But anyhow, so starting with some statistics here. We were on the road for 12 days, that includes the event. And in that 12 days, we covered 15 different states.
Hang on, let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Okay, so Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee again, but we won't recount Tennessee.
I will give you partial credit. Wyoming, Colorado were out of order, but they were correct.
Okay.
Okay, and in our travels through those,
that was just part of our detours. We went through Colorado and back up through. No,
we'd actually
not really.
No. We went through Wyoming on the northern return route to get into Colorado, and then went across Kansas from there. But
so during our trip, we actually had a 64-degree temperature swing, starting from 107 in Willows to our low at 43 in Utah.
Yep.
It was a hard trip to pack for.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a weird trip. So with respect to mileage on the trip, we covered 2,906 miles, getting to Expo and then doing the social scenic drives and drives to the locations. You can add on top of that 140 miles around Thunderhill Raceway, and then another 2,711 miles getting home, for a grand total of 5,750 miles that we drove on this trip.
So that brings the NSX total miles up to 274,000 and some change.
Yep. So
on average, we had about 24 miles per gallon, not counting the track.
Yeah, and that's measured on a stretch. We kind of spot checked a couple of stretches when we would top up and do the little calculation. That's probably where we're averaging around 75 to 80 miles an hour on the highway, which is the speed limit in that part of the country. For the record.
But that means, so the total trip, including the track, we had about 240 gallons of gas that we used.
Yeah, and that's between 24 fill-ups for a total of $835 in gas alone for the trip.
So cheap.
Yeah, totally. Easy. Drive across country, they say. It'll be fun, they said.
And it was.
Speaking of cost, though, let's talk about the event as a whole, as far as what it cost us to do this whole thing. So the registration for the event, and so that's a member, a guest, although she's now a member as well. And then the track event on top of that totaled $1,200.
Lodging ended up costing us about $1,500.
Yeah, that was actually the most expensive line item. Was
but I mean, realistically, 12 nights on the road, that means 12 nights in hotels.
Yeah, I mean, we cheesed it. We got 11 nights because we stayed with your folks in Colorado, but every other night we're in a hotel and paying for lodging somehow. So we're not our friend John, NSX Explorer, we're not camping out of the back of our NSX. So we're spending the money instead. But
we could consider that.
we could consider. There's room in the engine hatch. We could fit a tent in there and some sleeping bags. It'd be fine. Then on top of that, we had the $130 for the pre-tech inspection, which brings us to a total of $3,740.
But that doesn't include our food, because we would eat even if we're not on the road, and any souvenirs or random things we bought.
Yeah, so kind of optional. I mean, food isn't optional, but that usually happens anyway.
Food is not an optional ever.
No, it's not an optional ever. Okay.
Just saying.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, so...
I can talk about this.
Sure.
Okay, so at Expo, for the total number of, approximate number of cars and people there, so we had over 200 people that attended Expo and around 114 cars.
Yeah, so definitely over 100 cars, probably a few more than that. The count, it's difficult to tell. That was kind of our amateur hour, counting how many are in a given parking lot on some of the event drives. So there could have been more or less than that either, didn't go on certain drives or things like that we missed. But either way, big numbers.
Yeah. So I think those are our official numbers. Then we do have some random fun numbers that we came up with.
Yeah, other odds and ends statistics here. So we had the number of oddball gas station conversations brought on by the car. Had 4 of those.
And the number of times somebody offered to buy the NSX.
Yeah, that happened once. Along with it being all of you guys will be familiar with this, or at least the Gen 1 owners would be familiar with this. The number of times it was mistaken for a Corvette mercifully only happened once this time.
Well, that's how many people actually said it.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know what goes through people's minds, but let's see here. And the number of times Liz was propositioned by some bros in a van while she was driving the car. Yeah, that happened once.
That you know of.
Right. And that does lead us to some other oddball social moments, I guess. And so we did have the one we've kind of already mentioned, which was the guy making me a sight barely seen offer at a gas station, and thinking somewhere in Kansas on the way home. And I guess there was some story with it, like his brother had owned one, and then he inherited the car, but didn't keep it because it reminded him too much of his then late brother, and sold it. But now he regrets selling it, and he was curious if I had mine for sale or if I knew anybody else who did. But I guess that's kind of a common trend in the community, is people that sell their cars tend to regret it. But
however, if you want to sell it to me, I'll keep it in the family, and you can see it on the channel all the time.
All the time.
I just wanted to say.
Yeah. She's working on the assumptive close here, I think, in sales terminology. But
yes.
And then we had our construction
Missouri.
security guy.
Yeah, so when we got to our hotel in Missouri, that was kind of an odd one. We got there pretty late. If you remember, we filmed our wrap-up from the parking lot.
Yeah, I think it was 11:30 local time.
And while we were filming, so the hotel, apparently, we didn't realize was under a renovation, current renovation happening. And so, unfortunately, the only parking was in the back of the building. There were other cars and lights and stuff, but as we're filming our wrap-up, we hear a knock on the window.
Stay tuned for this story plus several more, as well as our personal highlights. Check out part 2 of our NSXPO wrap-up, probably coming this Thursday.